Hi, everybody, and welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast. This is episode 3, and I am your host, along with my co-host and teenage son, Jackson. Say hello.
What's up?
Not much. How is your week? How has your week gone?
Well, I just recently found out that I'm getting a package extremely late. It was supposed to be here a couple days ago, so not great, thanks.
Well, at least you're getting a package. Yes,
That's true, but...
His aunt was over again and spoiled that there's a box coming from a certain place that he
ringside
likes very much. So
yeah, ringside.
Yeah, so
I'll cover that once it comes, if it comes.
I don't know if anyone's noticed or cares, but I apologize. We are broadcasting a day late, but we had a combination of some recording issues.
Yeah.
Didn't record as it was supposed to. Somehow my recording got canceled, so then we waited an extra day, and then we had some family come visit us. So anyways, we're starting today in our new high-tech studio. How do you like it, Jack?
I wouldn't call it high-tech. That's a bit of a stretch, but I mean, it's better. It's like the mic stand's nice. So
yeah, so by high-tech, I mean I moved some boxes out of the little tiny room in the basement and set up a 30-year-old card
I'm like
table.
sitting next to a workout machine right now.
You are, and all of your mother's boxes of work stuff. But it's a nice small space. I've hooked up some new microphone arms to a bookcase that's full of random stuff.
Yeah.
So if we bump the table, there hopefully won't affect our sound. I think I got the sound acceptable on the first try, which is a new record, because episode 2 sound I wasn't too happy with.
The first episodes, it was a lot of trial and error. So.
And I have a new mic coming, but it's not here yet. I'm excited. I'm getting into all these microphone things for some reason.
I bet mine's going to take longer. My thing's going to take longer.
Yeah, we're in a competition to see whose package will take longer.
Although I wouldn't call it a competition, because I'm almost going to guarantee his comes first.
I don't know, yours was supposed to be here like a couple days ago.
My point exactly.
Yeah, true. I guess people probably don't care too much about our waiting for packages, but let's get on to talking about wrestling for the week. So we're going to start out with some news and rumors. Well, it's mostly news. We don't deal too much in rumors, which I think is okay. Did you want to go first? You had something?
So there was a thing on Raw where there's like this group, a bunch of people just like wearing black, and like, so they had like, it's like if you rob a bank or something, or if you're like trying to rob a house, like you wear like all black and like a hood mask or whatever, right? And they're all wearing those, and they're like throwing like fireballs at the Performance Center generator. It was weird, but so basically they were like supposed to be like screwing up Raw or something. You said there's like a bunch of glitches throughout the show just to kind of
I heard that.
get
I
that
didn't
across.
See any of it. And I actually, this is what you're telling me. I haven't really heard much about. Sounds crazy.
And then they actually came to SmackDown and kind of destroyed that. Like one guy did like a chainsaw, was cutting up the ropes, and like they beat up all like the crowd people. And like,
so are you saying, are we gonna have to start watching this stuff again, or?
No.
Not yet.
Cause I'll keep up to date on it. I'll just watch like YouTube and whatever.
It's interesting for me to see how you consume it differently, right? So I would never think of just going and watching what I've heard was good or whatever on YouTube, but it's probably an efficient way to do things, so you don't have to suffer through 3 hours of Raw.
Well, yeah, if I hear anything new or that interests me, like a title change, I'll see it. Like I watch or like if I want to see the end of a match, like for example the Apollo Crews MVP match, I just skip most of the video to the end, and basically so I just kind of keep tabs on it. I don't really watch much of it, so but
it's interesting to see that you just your generation, that's an easy efficient way to do it, and I'm not wired into that yet. I still I'm pretty much all or nothing, right? I watch the whole show or I don't watch any of it, but that's kind of cool. They're bringing different perspectives on it, and that's kind of the point of this podcast. All right, so
that's my only story, so you can.
Interesting. I honestly hadn't heard anything, so maybe I'll have to check it out at some point. Look on YouTube or something. Okay, so my first thing was, since we are doing it on the weekend, and the shows that we watched were on Wednesday, the ratings are already out. So, AEW reached its highest rating point of the pandemic era this week.
Nice.
They pulled in 901,000 viewers, which is up 128,000. Compared to NXT had 753,000, which is up 46,000. And in the coveted, I don't know if I've talked to you about this, but I hear it in all the podcasts I listen to, the coveted age bracket they're trying to capture is 18 to 49, right? So you're not quite in it, and I'm in it, but near the tail end of it. So That coveted group, AEW got 0.36, which I'm not exactly sure what that translates to, other than
I have no
relative
clue.
to NXT only got 0.2.
I'm going to assume it's good, but
No, it's better than NXT. I don't know what 0.36 exactly means, other than to say it's significantly more than the NXT's 0.20.
Yeah.
So, good week for AEW in general. Both overall and in the coveted bracket 18 to 49-year-olds. So that's good.
Yeah.
The other thing I looked at was the WWE quarterly report. I was telling you they put out every quarter. So what's that? Every 3 months they have a press conference or whatever, and they release a document and talk about it.
Yeah.
So despite 2020 being horrible for pretty much everywhere, WWE's still on pace for their most profitable year ever. Revenues reached a record $514.4 million year to date.
And with this, I'd like to circle back quick for Black Wednesday. And so for those of you who don't know, Black Wednesday was a few years ago. I think it was something like that. But anyways, on Wednesday, was it like a couple months ago now or something?
Yeah,
they released like buttloads of talent and staff, and it was just really horrible. And the fact that they're still putting out these record-breaking profits is kind of sad that they then also chose to release all these people when they didn't have to.
Right, and still, and you contrast AEW, and they still, they're a fledgling company, 2 years in. I'm not saying.
And they just brought in Matt Cardona, who's one of them who's got.
And they haven't released people yet, right? And I think Tony Khan actually said that a while ago. Eventually they're gonna have to. You can't. Go
and
on
New Japan,
forever.
who wasn't putting on shows for a while, they didn't release anybody as well, right?
So WWE's making record revenues and still laying off tons of people during a pandemic.
So,
I
but
guess
they brought back Heath Slater once. They brought back Kurt Angle once.
Right.
But even then, Heath was even under contract. He's now in Impact, so
he'll come up later.
Impact's really cleaned it up a bit. They have signed a bunch of people, but even then, it still sucks that I know AJ Styles has been very pissed off that his Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows were kind of let go, but anyways.
And they'll surface in Impact. I'll talk about them a little bit later.
Yeah.
So that $514.4 million to date is 14% growth from the previous year period. Something I didn't even know existed, I learned, is that there's a free version of the WWE Network was announced as of June 1st. Did you know that?
Yeah, because obviously for the pandemic, people aren't going to be making as much money. It's not like our situation where you and Mom, we're still getting paid because you're teachers, right?
Correct.
But anyways, so I think basically they released a free version of the network for people to use kind of in this era.
Makes
so that
sense.
they're not really losing money, that they can keep as much money as possible and still kind of use the network.
Right. So as of June 1st, they did that. So it's a portion of the WWE's content.
Which is it's good. If you're getting it free, then you can't really complain.
And that's what they're saying. They're saying it's to expand their reach and engagement, right? So maybe people that wouldn't pay for it will try it for free and keep using it, or upgrade to a paid package.
Yeah.
You're just at least getting your product exposed. Maybe
and then it can
people.
also save some money for people as well, which is good.
So ratings are obviously terrible for Raw and NXT. Whenever I hear other people talk about the Raw ratings, it's like their worst or second worst ever.
Yeah.
But the fact is they're still ranked really highly on their network on USA. Yeah. So their numbers are bad, but they're still top rated. I think Raw
in terms
and NXT,
of NXT, it's really sad because I feel like NXT used to be so good.
I think they're both still in the top 5 for USA or close to it. So we can talk about ratings and how no one's watching, but the fact is they're still watching it more than most things that are on TV.
Yeah, but I think a lot of things might not. I think it sounds good, but I feel like a lot of things are probably floundering right now, so I don't think that it's saying too much. They're doing the best, but it's also a time where a lot of things are thriving, like WWE is.
Well, and you should, I don't know, the ratings dropping to me means something, because people are looking for anything to watch for months, right? And it still was all-time low, and I mean, it wasn't a great product. But anyways, another thing I heard from the quarterly report that I hadn't heard before, and I don't know what it means or what it, WWE and A&E, which is a television network, have announced a new series. Ready? Tell me, will you watch this series? It is called The Quest for Lost WWE Treasures, featuring WWE Stephanie McMahon. Good thing it's not a video podcast. And Paul Levesque, because you're already making a face. No, not watching?
Like, what? Is it like a treasure hunt? What the? I know.
You know what I think it might be, and I don't know why, but I feel like I've heard this somewhere, is that it's them going through, like, they have some massive storage facility, right, with all of the stuff they've used for props and different storylines and things. So they may be going through and picking, I don't know, some interesting things and then talking about it and whatever. No? Still no?
It's not.
I'm not
Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, they could choose better people as well, but
yeah, well,
Triple H maybe not as the worst choice, but Stephanie McMahon is never the best choice.
Not a fan.
Yeah, I doubt I'll watch that. I'll probably like hear something about it, so I might try to keep tabs on it and see if it's any good. But
fair enough.
I doubt I'm going to.
You can watch the highlights on YouTube and decide from there.
No, I don't think I'll even do that.
No.
Well, I might. We'll see. We'll see.
All right. Well, I have nothing else in that department. Do you? Or shall we move on?
I think I'm good. Yeah,
right.
I had the one thing, so I'm good to
Beautiful.
move on.
So we're going to move into our AEW Dynamite review. Jackson will take the lead, and I will just chime in and interrupt him when I feel like it. So, all right, hit it, sir.
Yeah, so this was actually a pretty good show. And so we opened up with the 12-man tag match, which I actually liked better than I thought I would. It was FTR, which is Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, formerly known as The Revival. And then the Elite, which is the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, and then the tag team champions, Kenny Omega and Hangman Page, versus the Dark Order, which had, I believe it was Brody Lee, Stu Grayson, Evil Uno, Colt Cabana, 9, and 5.
Yeah, that's correct.
5 is formerly known as Alan Angels.
Have you seen 9 wrestle before? I remember.
No, I think he was one of the creepers because you know how he's wearing the whole black. Right?
Full gear.
I think they should use 10 in this match, who is one of the ones they've used before. I think he faced Jon Moxley. Anyways, I think they should use 10, but...
Only note I have there is that Taz is still on commentary. This turns out it was recorded, so Excalibur, we won't get into that, but hopefully he's back next week. He's been off for 2 weeks now.
Yeah, and so this starts kind of like your average match, but I also, one thing I would like to note is that this was like the opener, and there was no entrances. Everybody was just already in the ring, which I think is interesting, but I don't know, something different. And so the Young Bucks would double team Brody Lee, and then Lee would tag out 9, and he just kind of like shoves him in and then he gets like headlock takedown by Matt Jackson, which is kind of funny. Just like Brody Lee just kind of like forcing him in, and then there's like a really cool top rope Hurricane Rana by Nick Jackson, and FTR was double teaming 9, and then 9 would get double teamed again by by the tag champs, obviously Omega and Page, and Evil Uno would break up a pin count, which would result in a brief brawl, which is I don't know.
I had a note there that I feel like FTR and Page just seem to fit well together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that, and I have in brackets faction please, because obviously I think it'd be cool if they were together.
And then Cody.
I thought it worked well, and I thought Brody Lee's mannerisms are getting more interesting. Some of just the way he moves around and the look on his face and stuff. I thought he was better. Sorry, go ahead.
And there's like one of those big multi-suplexes that in the Elite and FTR got the better of the Dark Order.
Yeah,
I always think those are weird.
I don't love them. They require too much cooperation, right? There's a bit too much. I don't know. It's contrived.
Right.
Too many guys have to just happen to be in a certain spot for it to happen, but it's fine.
And like Colt Cabana would be running away from Kenny Omega on the outside. He would like kind of duck under, and Brody Lee would catch Omega with a pretty nice super kick actually, which is pretty cool. And 5, aka Alan Angels, would get a standing frog splash on Omega, which wasn't bad. It was like a Leo Rush kind of style frog splash.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Grayson would double team Omega, topped off with like a nice boot by Uno. That's what I have in my notes.
I trust you.
Dax Harwood tags in. Stu Grayson briefly got involved, and Cash Wheeler hits a nice uppercut on 5, which
5 sells a lot, and he sells well. He's the guy that's in there when they really want some high impact moves. It's felt like
FTR and Hangman go for like some weird triple kind of like maybe figure 4 like or something, and it's hard to tell what it was, but then they all end up bonking heads, and the Elite just like destroys Stu Grayson. And 5 eats a chop, a super kick, and then a wheelbarrow cutter courtesy of the Young Bucks.
Again, 5 taking a ton of offense from people.
And then this is where I think there's some sort of knee injury, so FTR would walk out, and Hangman would go with them, but he would come back later on.
But it's obviously furthering this, like, why is Page leaving his tag team partner, right, to go with these guys? It's sort of him bailing on Omega again, so it furthers that storyline that I like, but then he comes back, so it's this constant like, ooh, it looks like there's trouble. Oh, maybe there isn't, right? And I love that they're slow burn and they're taking their time.
Yeah, and so then one of the notes I have is Evil Uno's been doing this thing, so like when someone goes for like a stomp to the midsection, he'll like catch their foot and then kind of throw it to the ref and then do a neck breaker. So he did that again. I think that's really smart for a heel, just because I feel it's something so simple, but I don't think it's been really done before like that.
I'm really enjoying. I mean, I call them Dark Order, but I mean Uno and Grayson lately.
Yeah,
they've picked it up a notch.
They've really been coming back. It's just those two, really.
Yep.
And Grayson would kind of hit a cheap shot on Mac Jackson when he's running the ropes, and Omega would do the same to Brody Lee, but then he would like get turned inside out by a clothesline. And then there's this really cool cutter by Matt Jackson, which I kind of like.
Yes.
And then Nick Jackson would be pulled off the apron to prevent a hot tag. And I just wrote Mac Jackson runs wild because I guess that tends to happen.
I have Matt Jackson on fire, but then I put in brackets Dark Order looks weak, like he almost dominated a bit too much against a whole bunch of people, but it's fine.
And then Hangman would return to get a hot tag. He would hit a usual offense, and Uno unfortunately prevents a buckshot. Five gets he eats a back suplex on the apron, which always looks pretty cool.
Hardest part of the ring, I hear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then top rope moonsault by Hangman Page to take out everybody in the Dark Order minus Brody Lee.
Right.
And then it turned into Hangman versus Brody Lee. Brody Lee would tag in, obviously. Brody Lee would hit a suicide dive, which, I mean, we've seen before, but I think it's been a while, so
He's a big man. It's impressive.
It's so cool that he can do that. It's like, same thing with Samoa Joe. He can also do that. Omega ground and pound on Cabana, and then Five would kind of come in with, like, a back stomp, and then we'd see some classic Uno and Grayson here with the 450 splash and the cannonball kind of in sync. It's
and the camera angle they did from like back behind sort of the corner, right?
Yeah.
So it looked amazing.
And then Lee would go for a discus clothesline on Hangman, but Hangman would duck, and then the Young Bucks would double super kick him, which kind of kicks off their super kick party. They would just kind of go on super kicking everybody in the Dark Order briefly. Hangman and Omega would tempt their finisher, but Dark Order would pull Omega and the Bucks off the apron, and then Hangman would eat a discus clothesline for the win. And I wrote that's probably the best 12-man tag you could get. Like, it was pretty good for...
I enjoyed it as well, and the clothesline at the end was big, for sure.
I was not expecting it to be this good, because I guess, like, especially with watching a lot of WWE, but not even that, it's just, like, such a big match like that. You're always just like, oh, yeah, it's going to be just, like, a
like, think of if this were WWE and this is a Survivor Series match, and just the style, right? It's just kind of plodding and nothing... This, at least, and people do complain about AEW having these multi-man matches, and it's not their favorite, but at least it's never boring. They're going to give you little flurries and spots that I like spots. I know maybe
they do
some
it
people
very
think
well.
There's too many. But yeah, it was fun. I liked it. It was fast-paced out of the gate, and it's, in my opinion, not a promo, right? So that's WWE. Let's start with someone...
They've kind of almost mastered the art of the multi-man tag.
Well, it's the fast start to the show.
Right.
It's not your GM talking for 15 minutes, or it's not whatever. It's let's get right in, and I prefer that every single time. All right, what's next?
You gotta love it. There's a Moxley promo. He was just kind of talking about Darby Allin. The last time he nearly broke Allin's neck. He really does put it over Darby Allin in this, which I really like, unlike somebody else who we'll get into on NXT.
Right.
But yeah, and he would just say he really likes Darby Allin, and he's just like, I think a lot of it is he's like, when he tells Darby to tap, he should tap, because he doesn't want to kind of ruin Darby Allin,
Yep, and I like this.
It was really cool, because it's kind of like the frenemies relationship almost, but it's like, because he said he'd have Darby Allin's back if necessary, right? So I like that.
And it's not, I'm not as big a Mox fan as you, but I thought this was good too. It puts Allin over, as you're saying, right? Like, this guy's great. He calls him his favorite wrestler or whatever in AEW. Mm-hmm. And then he basically, it's almost like he reminds me of a young me sort of thing, and I know what I'm going to have to do to take him out, and it's not going to be fun, but I'll do it.
Yeah,
I like that.
And that's also was very well represented in the match, which we'll talk about later, because that's the main event. So.
Again, if you contrast this to some of the garbage that Moxley had to read in WWE and memorize, this is what he should be doing. Yeah. I think, did you miss, or did I put it in the wrong place, that just before this promo, the best friends arrived in a van?
Yeah, I'm sure
I don't think...
Because their match is after this.
And I don't think the mom was there this time, but the van was there. I didn't see her, but maybe. I don't know. Anyways, the van's
next
there.
we had Proud and Powerful, Santana and Ortiz versus the Best Friends, Chuck Taylor and Trent Barreta.
I have like a Jack note here. I like SNO, Santana and Ortiz's theme music.
Yeah.
You're usually the ones that notices that
Yeah,
stuff.
It's pretty good. It's a little repetitive at the beginning, but like, it's got a good beat to it.
I like it.
It works. It gets the job done. We start with Chuck Taylor versus Santana and Best Friends double team. Best Friends hug. No picture-in-picture again. Yeah. Ortiz kind of does a Rick Rude impression, if you remember.
Yeah, he starts swiveling his hips around.
Which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Trent takes a nice back bump on the apron, which is nice. Santana with the tope suicida. Trent possibly back injury. Maybe not real, but like in kayfabe at least.
Yeah.
Double team suplex by, I wrote PNP just for short. Ortiz yells passionately, I said, at camera, which is kind of his thing.
Did you hear what he was yelling while he was standing on Trent? I have him, quote, "Look at your baby boy, Sue," was what he was yelling. My note was that I really like Santana in the ring, and Ortiz is funny as this unhinged sort of character.
In some of his sells, they're almost like, they're stupid, but they're like comical, you know?
Yeah, he's funny.
They're a great duo. It works. I think it was weird because when we went to Impact, they were like baby faces, right? We kind of just saw them as baby faces, and then now we're really getting to see their heel side of things.
Was it you, your brother, or both that hugged Santana?
I think both.
Both, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we got
that was cool
because we were up front row at Impact. I think it was a couple years ago. Anyways, we got a Falcon Arrow from Chuck Taylor after a hot tag in. We get a Tower of Doom kind of thing.
Yes.
And roll up by Trent for the win. And one of my notes I put in bold is, this was definitely a match that occurred on Dynamite.
That's funny. Mine is, this match existed. No story, no stakes, no interest.
Just okay.
That's a bit harsh. Yeah, it was. I don't know what it was there for. I'm not a huge fan of the Best Friends. I'm not saying they're not talented in ring, but I don't.
It was fine. It was just like, it's kind of like if you're a wrestling fan will know, is back in 2002, kind of, they had a King of the Ring qualifying match. Steve Austin was supposed to face Brock Lesnar, and there's like zero build up to it, and that's kind of why Austin walked out. So I feel like it was a similar thing with this, where there was just like no build, no purpose to it. Nope. It wasn't even like their like number one contenders match or something. Even that I feel like could have helped this match.
It was just kind of there, and it was okay. I think, and you just said it in your last, I know what the catchphrase or like the tagline for our podcast is. If you ever have any merchandise, it's going to be FNS Wrestling Podcast. It's fine. Because we both say it a lot. We'll be like, it was fine. It's fine.
The podcast is fine.
It's fine.
Guess,
it's
right?
fine.
It's fine.
It's not great. It's fine.
And I think what didn't help this is that you just had that multi-tag match. Or multi-man tag, which is really
that's a good point, right? You come off of that where there's all these guys and there was all kinds of stuff going on.
And this is just like your average tag match.
Yeah, it
was. With no story, which again, it doesn't exactly help.
If you had a live crowd, they'd say it was like the cool down match, right? You kind of have one to cool down before you ramp it back up again, but there is no crowd. So I did have a note somewhere that the crowd noise at AEW, and it sounds like a small thing.
It's more authentic.
Yeah, the plexiglass banging and shaking and rattling, right? It's a little.
Yeah,
that's on NXT.
Not even that it's annoying, but it's also just like, that's not. It's just weird, and it's like like you said, Vince is clearly in control
of the fans. Yeah, they're doing.
AEW is like, not only is it authentic, but there's so much uniqueness there. Like you had like Kip Sabian with the poster once, and like you just got like all these guys doing things, and like sometimes people get thrown into the crowd or like interference sort of. It's like, it's very like just unique.
It's a lot better.
It's much better.
It's the plexiglass rattling I don't love too much.
That as well. Next I have MJF backstage. It was like sort of a promo, but anyways, it was like
it was supposed to be like his campaign headquarters, right?
Yeah, and then it was like they were making like pins and stuff, and he berates this guy named Lee. I think it was Lee Johnson or whatever.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, the jobber. That's my favorite. JK.
I didn't recognize him, but I believe
you. And for a crooked poster, which is kind of funny, and you noted this, the poll, if you want to talk about that.
The poll that he puts up shows that was approval rating or whatever it was, that MJF is at 100% and Moxley is at negative 88%, so that was kind of funny.
I didn't notice that the first time, but Dad pointed that out, so.
Yeah.
And Matt Hardy kind of had an in-ring promo. There was a he was just kind of talking about his choice to go to AEW. Now he's just like you said, kind of being himself now, and he really puts over a private party, which I think is nice. Kind of puts them as the kind of like him and Jeff.
Yeah.
Which I think is a decent comparison, but I would say more so the Young Bucks.
Yes.
But
they're not
is
young
a young
anymore.
team, so I think it's good that he's going to kind of mentor them a bit. Talks about, he kind of mentioned Sammy Guevara, and Sammy Guevara comes out from under the ring and attacks him. He did like this crazy dive through the table.
Yes.
And then Matt Hardy bled like
crazy,
he was bleeding
a lot.
bad.
Yeah.
It was almost like
that was a cool visual, but it was a lot. My notes were, it started out, the camera was so close on Matt Hardy, it was annoying me, and I thought the crowd sounded sweetened. Like, I thought they added some crowd noise in, maybe. It was almost too loud.
Mm-hmm.
And I also, he's like doing this whole no gimmick, I'm not doing any gimmicks anymore, I'm not doing any characters, while wearing a t-shirt that is one of his former characters' things, that Matt Hardy will never die or whatever. So it's kind of like, listen, I'm not doing any gimmicks, but here I am talking about my new gimmick, wearing the gimmick shirt of the gimmick I used to do that I'm doing now, right? So
and it's also,
I
feel like another part of that is that I think gimmick is what he is best at. I thought his broken gimmick was so good, and it was just like, it was much better.
Yeah.
And like, you know.
Yeah, he's a creative guy, and I think he should sort of go with creativity. This, I don't know, maybe, again, I feel like he's just waiting until there's crowds, and he's going to be more exciting. And then I also thought, like, it also seems like he's doing no character, no gimmicks, but it's basically going to be a table match or something. So I don't know. I wasn't a fan of this, but I almost said it there. Guess what? It's fine.
Yeah, it was.
That hit, Sammy's
fun.
flip was insane. That 680 or whatever it was.
It was like an attempted 630.
That was a highlight spot for sure. The blood was a lot, but anyways.
I feel like there's a 50-50 chance he either actually got hit or it's fake. I feel like,
yeah,
because the dive was so out of control. Like, there's a good chance that it could have been real.
Could have been.
And then I also heard a rumor. Actually, I probably should have brought this up earlier, but that could be backstage heat on Sammy Guevara.
Oh, really? For hurting Hardy?
I don't know. I didn't like listen full in, but I just saw it as like the title of a news video. So, but yeah. And then next we had Santana Ortiz destroying the Best Friends band, van. Sorry.
Yes.
This is an interesting.
With
segment.
sledgehammers.
They could have done this maybe before the match.
And graffiti.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess this is their way to build. I have it in my notes. I guess this feud continues ... Yay ?
Yeah.
Right.
That's fair.
This is now the build to something. I guess. I have trouble getting into the Best Friends.
I think they could use a stipulation.
I like Santana Ortiz. I don't care about the Best Friends.
Yeah, I don't know. I like them. I think Trent's decent, but anyways, we got Dark Order's John Silver and Alex Reynolds take on Cody and formerly known as Zack Ryder, Mr. Matt Cardona.
Yes, sir.
So that's his debut. The first note I have is a neckbreaker reversal to a suplex from, I think it was Reynolds.
Wow.
So by Cardona.
A new wrestler debuts, and I'm the one out of the two of us that noticed his theme. That's crazy.
Well, I heard his theme, but what about it?
What did you think about it? I just had that it's not great. You had it's fine?
I didn't say that, but I don't know. It's okay. It's not.
I have it's not great. He's in amazing shape. And
don't love it, don't hate it.
And as we were talking about, he's going to seem bigger like, physically bigger because the average AEW guy is smaller, right? So he's going to
especially
seem
the
like
John
really
Silver in this match.
Well, yeah, and then maybe that was intentional too, to put him against him. Sorry, go ahead.
But then, anyways, Cody tags in.
So
Dark
much
Order
for Cody defending the TNT title every week. Where did that go? Gone.
I think it's just like maybe he defends it a lot. Maybe not every week.
Well,
you can't have
sold
perfection.
as every week, and it lasted. I don't know. I don't
can't
care that much. I'm just like, where did it go? And no
right. Mention. And we had some Dark Order dirty tactics. Cody would get double team, and they would kind of do an apron cheap shot to Cardona, or I don't know. It's kind of like an attempted cheap shot, I guess.
Yeah.
There was some cool kicks that Silver got in, and I wrote it was a little too much offense for Dark Order's mid-card team.
They honestly, against your debuting superstar from somewhere else.
And your mid-card champion.
I'm actually okay with it because I don't like Zack Ryder, and I don't really... I kind of interested in them working on the Dark Order, so...
I guess.
Dark Order looked good.
I think they could build them up, though, at the expense of, like, jobber tag teams.
They could. I don't see what the Cardona thing is.
And it's also kind of pointless that they're going to get so much offense. They're very clearly losing this.
Yes.
Anyways, we got Cardona in off a hot tag. He did a decent wrecking ball drop kick. He got a nice tiger driver. Cody went in and got the Cody cutter hit. There's that cool sequence by the Dark Order that you really liked with like the German suplex.
They did a whole bunch of things in a succession.
It was crazy.
It was nice.
Pretty cool.
They looked good.
They did like that suplex over the rope thingies. It's always weird.
Yes.
And Zack Ryder's Rough Riders, now Matt Cardona's Radio Silence, and that gets the win. And it was fun. And after the match, we had Scorpio, as like Cody was walking through the entrance tunnel, we had Scorpio Sky eyeing the TNT title. So
right, and he had just given an intense promo on Dark, right? So again, one of my annoyances, if you didn't watch Dark, you wouldn't know, which I actually happened to do this week. So I have for this match, your TNT champion and your hot new free agent signing are just the tiniest bit better than an essentially enhancement tag team.
That's what I'm saying. It's not great for.
Dark Order looked good. Matt and Cody look kind of whatever here, and honestly, Cardona didn't get a ton of offense. It was mostly Cody, and then he did a little bit. So I thought it was a really weird choice for a debut, and I didn't think he looked that great. But I'm also not a fan in the first place. So
right. They made a best friends promo, which is kind of like, they were very fired up. I know. I was gonna try to take notes, but it was just like it was going very quick. But it was just kind of talking about how they shouldn't have messed with, I guess, Sue's van. So it's kind of like, they're super angry now.
All I had is they're mad about the van. They'll take the match, and when Santana Ortiz lose, they have to apologize to Trent's mom about the van.
That's an interesting kind of.
That's the stip.
That's the extra exciting stipulation.
Right. Well, let's get into
everybody.
I don't know if you'd say what was the highlight of the show for you.
The debate. It was pretty funny. The Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy debate.
Yes, the Super AEW Super Wednesday Debate 2020.
Yeah, that's the official name. The surprise moderator was Eric Bischoff. And he ran WCW sort of on TNT, so that's kind of the big kind of point to him on this, because they're obviously on TNT in America. So
the con to him coming, in my opinion, is again, it's more retreads from other places, meaning like they've been just bringing people back to do the same thing. The plus side was it was a super minimal role, right? And I actually thought he was fine, because my fear was when Bischoff's on, it's all about Bischoff, and he's always the main guy, and this whatever scene he's in, it's about him. So it wasn't, and it was okay.
And I actually saw a news thing that that is a one-time appearance.
I was just gonna say I don't think we need to see him anymore, so that's good news.
Yeah, and so the questions are chosen at random. The competitors don't know the questions.
And there's only going to be 5, right?
Right. There's only 5 questions, right? And Orange Cassidy's entrance, he's got a new theme that's like okay. I don't know. I thought I
didn't notice really.
The best friends theme is fine for him, because I don't know, or like he could go without a theme.
Did you notice his handshake to Bischoff?
No, I didn't.
It was like super lazy. He could barely open it, like what you would think Orange Cassidy.
Right.
He could barely be bothered to open his hand or anything.
Yep, and then he just kind of like, he plops down on the entrance ramp and just rolls into the ring, because their entrance ramp is like level with the ring. So he kind of did that. Chris Jericho would enter. He was accompanied by Hager, who had like a hanger with Jericho's stained jacket.
And they're both in like nice new suits, looking all official. Yeah.
And it's weird. The jacket looks even more orange. But the first question is why they hate each other, and Jericho's kind of talking about how not classy Orange Cassidy is, and then Cassidy would answer that by putting on a clip-on tie, which was kind of funny. Yes. And then he says Cassidy is a joke, and people laugh at him and calls him a ginger jackass. Yep. Cassidy does not answer, so then Jericho kind of wins that, and then next question is who is better? Who's the bigger star? Yeah. That's just kind of I don't know, I just kind of summarized it. Anyways, he calls Cassidy a nerd and talks about how many titles Jericho has held, and how he would have bullied Cassidy if they went in high school together. And he would smell like a combination of, it was something weird, like salami, something, and batteries, which I thought was pretty funny. Jericho's insults were funny. Like, I don't know. Some of them were random. He owns that character, right? And that's
what his character does, and
it's so great.
He was awesome.
Actually, and then the next question was actually pretty good. It was about sea levels and whatnot, and I think
like a serious debate. What you're getting.
And then Jericho is just like saying that Cassie won't give an answer and whatever, and Cassie just gives like a super smart answer. I wasn't able to summarize it, but it was very funny, and it was just like
he gives like an informed,
right.
educated.
Just
eloquent
like the exact
response.
opposite of one of his characters, but I think that's great. Just for like every now and then.
However, he still did it with zero expression and zero passion, right? So it's still like the laziest possible way to relay facts that I guess he thinks are important. So I thought it was pretty cool.
It was so good though.
Yeah.
And then the next question is about why Cassie's so like popular with the fans and like and everything like that. Jericho says he's everything wrong with pro wrestling. Says Cassie is a pimple on the ass of pro wrestling and says he will pop him.
Yep.
Which I think is another funny one. Says he's owed $7,000 and Cassie will go work at a juicing job after this match.
Yeah, it was, and he's gonna, whatever he wants the $7,000 to replace his jacket when he wins.
I think it's like a $7,000 match. I think now.
I guess,
Last question is why the match is so important to each competitor. Cassie kind of interrupts Jericho's spiel and he's like, Chris, shut up, and then like says shut up again. And he says he doesn't care about anything, but he cares about the match. Cassie says, what if Jericho loses to the guy who puts his hands in his pockets? Kind of saying like, Jericho says he's the best and whatnot, but what if he loses to the guy who literally does not give a crap?
It's what I tell. I've coached a lot of different teams in my life, and I tell them, right, when we're the super underdog, like all the pressure's on the other team, right? If they win, they're supposed to win. If they lose, it's devastating. If we lose, we're supposed to lose, right? So the pressure is, and that's what he's saying, the pressure's on Jericho, right? Like, I'm just a nobody. I'm not supposed to win. I got no pressure.
And also, he doesn't care, so it's even that.
He doesn't care.
And then I just wrote good. It was a very good Cassidy speech, and he would actually end up winning the debate. Bischoff said he really liked the C-level answer, and then Jake Hager would attack Cassidy at the behest of Jericho.
Ooh,
and
behest. Nice.
And then there'd be a Judas effect to Orange Cassidy. Best friends kind of chase them off. Wee bit too late for those guys, but I mean...
A lot of late arriving people.
Right. I just find that very stupid. I mean, it might be over-analyzing, but it's like... If you're really friends with them,
and
wouldn't you come up when they're getting beat? Unless you're, like, doing something, I guess that's fair, but, like, maybe have that expressed then, so that we're at least aware.
And when did you notice before the Judas effect, they shoved his hands into his pockets? And which was, I thought, a cool touch.
Yeah. And then there's a Britt Baker interview kind of at ringside, and so it's just basically who Britt Baker has picked for Big Swole to face, and Big Swole wins this match, then she can have a match with Britt Baker. And, I mean, this was both surprising and not surprising at all. She picked Reba. Right. Well, Rebel, I think it is, but she calls her Reba.
Wrestler.
And it's funny because, she's not wrestling. Like Rebel's like, what the frick? And then Britt Baker just kind of like forces her in. And my first note is this will not be long. So this kind of leads into Big Swole versus Reba. Meet headlock takedown by Swole. Britt Baker kind of distracts her, allows Reba to get in control. She does this weird corner kick thing. She goes to the top rope and misses a moonsault. Then Big Swole hits her discus forearm for the win. This was
discus
short.
Forearm called Dirty Dancing, I believe.
Yeah, interesting.
Right.
This was a short match and nothing really to look at.
Yeah, the only thing is it's further showing us that Britt is willing to like put an experienced wrestler that's supposed to be a friend of hers to her certain doom, right?
Yeah, but I think it's also like if Britt Baker's supposed to be this smart heel, why would she put in a ex-wrestler that's not really...
I think because she's a jerk and she doesn't care about people, basically. And Swole, tons of charisma. I don't see anything else. I don't know.
Don't like her. Neither nor.
Right? So, I almost said it's fine. God, now that I pointed it out, it's going to be tough. So it wasn't fine. It was less than fine.
It was trash.
Yes.
Alright, and then I've got a bunch of stuff for, I think, next week. So we've got Cody versus Scorpio Sky TNT title match. This was kind of hinted at earlier, so nothing surprising here. I mean, this could be a decent match. Scorpio Sky's pretty decent, so...
Oh, yeah, he can put on a good match, for sure.
And then we got Orange Cassidy versus Chris Jericho, obviously, the $7,000 challenge match.
Nice.
And we got Tag Team Appreciation Night hosted by FTR next week, so...
Because we know WWE's never hosting that night, that's for sure.
You know. Omega and Paige, surprisingly, this is a non-title match against Jurassic Express. I think Tag Team Appreciation Night could have used a tag title match.
That should be fun.
think a triple threat tag would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Dark Order versus Young Bucks. That
awesome.
is Stu Grayson versus Evil Uno, so pretty nice there.
I'm already excited.
And then Rock and Roll Express and Arn and Tully. That not a match, I don't think. So don't worry, you don't have to watch grandpas rolling around a ring.
I totally did see Rock and Roll wrestle in NWA not long ago, right before the pandemic.
Oh God. Anyways, but so yeah, that's going to be a bunch of stuff for next week. Should all be covered in the next podcast episode. So, and I believe we got our main event here, right?
Probably my other highlight of the show.
Yeah. Darby
shows.
Allin versus Jon Moxley, AEW World Title match. Darby Allin kind of wears this weird papered mask that's literally Jon Moxley's face with one eye hole. So I guess that you can see.
Looked
He has that chant paint again, where like he kind of paints his face, and then he paints like half his body, and just says it's like white, and then it says in black, champ. I love it. It's fantastic. Hell,
I'm not even the age or whatever demographic that he's supposed to appeal to, and I think he's fantastic.
Yeah. And speaking of the champ paint, they've got computer-generated images for, I think it's Series 3 AEW Unrivaled Darby Allin, and the kind of Chase special limited edition hard-to-find one is that champ paint from when he faced Jericho, when Jericho was the champ. So I think that's a very wise choice for the kind of Chase version. Anyways, a jab by Mox would actually kind of bloody Darby Allin's mouth right off the bat, which I think it's interesting. It adds a little, I guess, that could happen. So, I mean, it's a little realism
and
there.
It's, again, Allin doesn't care,
yeah.
right? So that's
and Darby Allin would kind of not necessarily, like, flip around, but just kind of, like, avoid him and then just kind of slap Mox. And when they're kind of, like, doing holds and whatnot.
Quick and graceful.
Yeah. And Darby Allin's paint would rub off a lot on Mox, which I think was kind of interesting. I've never really seen that before. It's like, Mox just has, like, paint smudges all over him. And towards the end of the match, Darby Allin's paint is super smudged. I think I have a note somewhere, but anyways, Darby Allin... Oh, yeah, it's right here. Darby Allin paint very smudged.
Yes.
And then they kind of brawled on stage for a second. Darby Allin is sent off the stage right into the ring post, which looked pretty nice.
Oh, he's so good at taking these, like, being thrown headfirst into stuff. It looked awesome, I thought.
That's
great.
Definitely
Part of it's the camera work, too. The camera angle nailed it, right? I'm sure it doesn't look that good from other angles, but it looked awesome.
But how bad could it look? Darby Allin's pretty good.
He is.
Anyways,
Darby Allin love
he has him in a submission. I can't remember what it was, but then Darby Allin kind of flips him off. Not like actually flips him off, but just gives him the middle finger, double middle finger.
Yeah.
Darby pulls him into ropes, kind of like damaging his throat, and he does the Lope suicide dive, which looked actually pretty nasty because he charged in hard, believe me. Then he did a swanton to the outside off of the ring post.
It looked good, too.
Standing off the ring post, which is pretty nice. He would flip out of a German suplex, hits a sunset bomb.
Yep.
Apparently Darby Allin's 27. Made a note of that.
Yep. Which in the wrestling game is pretty young still, right? Like.
Moxley would play possum and German suplex. Wardlow would distract the ref, and MJF would nail Mox in the face with the title belt. Coffin drop on Moxley, and he still kicks out, which is kind of a surprise because I don't think a lot of people
coffin drop always looks
not
cool.
a lot of people kick out of it, and also there's the title shot I just mentioned.
Yeah.
Moxley is busted open pretty nicely. Darby Allin would like do repeated ground and pound forearms to his bloodied face. Moxley catches the coffin drop into a sleeper, which is actually pretty nice. Yeah. Darby Allin claws at the eyes of Moxley to get out of that, but then he just gets absolutely annihilated with a paradigm shift, and Jon Moxley retains.
Yeah, and there was a gotch pile driver in there somewhere too,
right? And I think the whole point of this was, like, I think partly the sleeper, he was like, Moxley kept yelling tap, because I don't think he wanted to whip out the paradigm shift.
Right, like, just tap out now so I don't have to drop you on your head.
Right. It was a great match, it was entertaining, and a great show closer.
I thought, and the MJF involvement too, that's more of he's like the chicken heel, right? So he would rather face Allin than Moxley, who Allin's a lesser opponent in his mind. So that was fine too. I liked the match. I liked the story it told a lot. The champ who likes and respects his challenger but knows he's going to have to kill him to beat him, right?
Right.
Allin's the guy who takes a massive beating, never gives up, and
doesn't know it's good for him.
And then has these flashes of fast-paced, high-risk stuff. I have that kid is special. He's
one of a
so
kind,
unique
truly.
in the world of wrestling right now, and he deserves significant attention from this company.
Yes.
And I think they're smart enough to recognize that. Whereas if he's anywhere else right now,
I think we saw him like a while before AEW in this documentary called The Wrestlers.
We did.
And I just think because I think it was in Evolve against Ethan Page and he got like super injured or something. I don't know. I just didn't think much of him. I just was like, oh, he's like kind of a hardcore but now I think this exposure has really helped him. He's just like really coming into his own. I feel like so.
His character's cool. His look is.
I can't wait for them to bring back normal sloped ramp so you can just skateboard down the entranceway.
He is, and that's because I've never really seen him anywhere else. Right? He's one of the ones that's who I think he showcased. Look at this guy. He's fantastic. Right. So overall,
I definitely think it was a great show. I enjoyed it. I think it's hard not to enjoy AEW, especially with the crap WWE kind of puts out right now. So I think it's very enjoyable.
I think it's funny because going over it and talking about it with you right now has made me realize I like it a bit more than I thought I did. You know what I mean? I really liked the debate. I really liked the main event.
Yeah.
The opener was fun, so I mean the swole match I didn't enjoy, and a couple
even
of things,
even the big multi-man tag I didn't think I would enjoy too much. It was actually like super good. I really liked it.
Yep. So all in all, another good show.
Yeah, that'll wrap
Deserve
that
the
up.
ratings.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on to our next segment is Off the Top of His Head, starring Jackson. So for those of you who don't know, this is where I pick a topic or question for him to sort of flex his trivial knowledge of the world of wrestling.
Right,
so he's done pretty well. Last week he did better than I anticipated, and the 2 weeks before that he nailed it. Yep. So let's see what happens this time. So I have a list. So I did this myself again, and I made it back 2 years. So what it is the topic is WrestleMania main events.
Right.
And for this discussion, main event will mean the match that was on last. Okay.
Right.
Because there's always debate, like, oh, there's whatever.
It's the match that's on last. Let's be honest.
The match that went on last. Okay. So again, just to prepare me, because I'm fact checking you as we go. Are you gonna go current backwards and see how far you can go? You can't do all of them, can you?
For what? Like WrestleMania main events? Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna try to go just from WrestleMania 1 then.
Wow. Okay, so let me pull up my list.
Just cause I know like the first couple.
All right.
Okay, let me think. Okay, I think I've got at least. Okay, ready? I'm ready.
WrestleMania main events in history. Go ahead.
All right. So the first one we got Hulk Hogan, Mr. T versus Paula Orndorff and Roddy Piper.
That's correct.
Second one was Hulk Hogan, King Kong Bundy, Steel Cage. Right.
Correct.
Yeah. WrestleMania 3, I think all wrestling fans would know this one. Hogan, Andre.
Correct.
WrestleMania 4, Randy Savage, Ted DiBiase.
Correct.
Vacant WWE title tournament.
I swear he had no idea this.
WrestleMania 5 was Mega Powers Explode.
Yeah, it was.
WrestleMania 6 was in the Sky Dome. The Ultimate Challenge.
Yes.
WrestleMania 7.
What was the Ultimate Challenge? Who? And who?
Hogan and Warrior, title for title.
Gotcha.
WrestleMania 7. Oh, yeah, right. Hogan and Slaughter, I believe.
Correct. WrestleMania
8. What year was that?
Don't know.
What year was that? Hold on. Was it Hulk Hogan and Sid?
It was.
9. WrestleMania 9, Bret Hart and Yokozuna.
10.
Was it Bret Hart and Yokozuna?
It was. 11.
Bam Bam Bigelow, Lawrence Taylor.
Correct.
Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Iron Man. Was the
16,
WrestleMania 12?
Yeah, wow. Okay.
WrestleMania 13 was it Undertaker and Sid? I feel like.
Yes.
WrestleMania 14 was it Austin and Michaels?
Yes.
WrestleMania 15 was Austin and Rock, right?
Oh my goodness, yes.
WrestleMania 16 was Triple H versus Mick Foley versus Big Show versus The Rock.
My only criticism there is it's WrestleMania 2000.
Oh, okay, sorry.
You are right.
WrestleMania X7.
Yes.
Austin versus Rock 2, the no DQ match. Right?
Yes.
Yep. WrestleMania, what was it?
X8.
After X8.
We're on now.
Triple H and Chris Jericho.
Correct.
Because I know it should have been.
How is this possible?
It should have been Hogan and Rock, but anyways. And then we got
XIX?
Yeah, XIX. Was it Angle and Lesnar?
Yes.
WrestleMania 20
Yep.
was Benoit, Triple H, Michaels.
Yes.
Oh, that was a hard one. WrestleMania 21.
You've already clinched it for me.
It was either Triple H and Batista.
It was.
Okay, it was either that or JBL and Cena.
Nope. 22.
Yeah, but it is okay. Triple H and Cena. Was it?
Correct.
Oh.
23.
Batista and Undertaker.
No.
Cena and Michaels.
Yes.
Okay. I just thought because Undertaker won the Rumble that year, so.
24.
But anyways,
XXIV.
Was it Orton, Cena, Triple H? No. Edge and Undertaker.
Yes.
Ah.
25.
Yes. Orton and Triple H. I know that one.
26.
Undertaker Michaels.
Yes. 27. Yeah. Now it's
Miz and Cena.
Correct.
Rock and Cena.
Correct.
Rock and Cena.
Correct.
Yeah.
Twice
Bryan, Batista, Orton.
Correct.
And then we got Roman and Brock with the Money in the Bank cash into Seth Rollins.
Correct.
Then we had Roman and Triple H.
Yes.
Roman and Undertaker.
Yes.
Roman and Brock Lesnar.
If you say so, yes.
And then the women's triple threat,
Right.
Rousey, Flair, Lynch, and then we have, obviously, McIntyre and Lesnar.
Yep.
For
wow,
this year.
That's incredible. I had...
I think I messed up like a couple times. But
yeah.
then I got it. But then I got a second try.
You don't know anything. I got as far as Drew, Brock, and the women's triple threat, and then I was out.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow.
The mind of youth. All right, so that was impressive. So we're going to move into our NXT review.
Oh, yeah. All right, so this is primarily you.
This is I'll do the heavy lifting on this one.
I'll chime in when I choose to.
So full disclosure, we finished this one up this morning.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's fresh in my mind, which is
good.
Which
probably helps you.
It does. We're straight into Rhea Ripley entrance as Morrow talks about the dog days of summer. So we're immediately getting our number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship, Rhea Ripley versus Dakota Kai. My first question, where's Raquel Gonzalez? I miss her as Kai's muscle. Yeah. I really like that.
They call her Big Mommy Cool.
I know you don't like the comparison, but I really like that this was
I don't mind it, but like it's also like
the undersized,
she's not
cocky,
the level
strong
yet.
Wrestler and the big muscle. I liked it a lot, so I kind of missed it.
I noticed that the sponsor for TakeOver 30 is Supercard.
Nice. Back again.
Also, I hate Rhea Ripley's hair, and like I really feel it detracts from like that cool look that her character is supposed to represent. Just like, you know, like her character's supposed to be that kind of badass, kind of, I don't know, but like
I've heard other people say things similar, so you're
and
not the only one.
And she had weird ring attire, like blue pants, is weird.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Anyways.
Ripley's overpowering to start. Big slap from Kai. Ripley dominates with clotheslines, a drop kick, and corner spears. I have a note here that Kai felt like a stronger heel to me in the past. Like, I didn't feel like she was working full heel, which I didn't like, because I really liked... I didn't think I would like the heel her. If you remember, the face her was, like, super face. But I really like it. So I thought it was... She needs to dial it back up. Vertical suplex by Ripley for 2. Dakota... Here's how specific I am. Dakota tries to do stuff, but Ripley uses her power to throw Kai around. Ripley working heel, ? Pulling hair, slapping, etc.
So I was one part, I don't know if you're there yet, but Kai kind of oversell the... body scissors kind of.
Yes, it's right next.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I didn't understand the heel face dynamic here. I felt like the heel was facey and the face was heely. So
no, but like when she was in that hold, I feel like they were doing like the plexiglass bang, where I feel like I put crowd rallying while heel Kai is in the hold ?
So
right?
I'm glad you said that, because I was also confused. Yeah. So it kind of put me off a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. So lots of time on the ground in leg scissors here, I put. A bad near fall where Ripley just let go. Remember, she had her...
yeah, it was a weird kind of roll up. It's like, it honestly reminds me of, so, for those of you who may or may not know, and WWE 2K games, especially recently, sometimes some of the moves have pin combos where, like, if you press B or circle on PlayStation, right away you can get, like, an immediate pin.
Yeah.
Some of them are, like, it looks like they let go, or, like, some of the roll-up animations. That's very much what this was.
Yeah, she had her pinned down, and Kai wasn't even looking like she was struggling to get out, and then it's just, like, Ripley released that, too. So I obviously wasn't
it was kind of weird.
Kai tries forearms, rolls out, a suplex, and runs the ropes. Kai's outside now, gets kicked in the head by Rhea from the ring above. Kai's dropped from Ripley's shoulders to the ring apron.
I dropped like electric chair kind of drop.
Yes, electric chair front drop with
electric
her face.
Chair drop.
I think it looked great. I love Kai is the headshot selling. Kai and Darby Allin, man, they're the headshot selling.
And Mustafa Ali always had a nice sell when you went into the ring post.
If we ever see him again, back from a commercial with a big pump kick by Dakota Kai for 2. I do really think her kicks look good. Unlike when the shiniest wizard, I don't think's the best shining wizard I've seen. I get
Adam
why
Cole does it way better. Literally, they have someone else on the brand. Adam Cole does it fantastically. He gets better snap. It looks incredible.
But I get why Kai's like the captain of Team Kick nickname, because her kicks look good. Back to the ground with Kai working Ripley's arm. Ripley's back kick to the gut to slow down Kai. More clotheslines by Ripley and a cricket knee. Oh, I think. a cricket knee. That's a cravat knee that got auto-corrected, I think.
Yeah, she had it in a cravat hole and just like was
Are
kneeing
you sure,
her
or
face.
did she have her in a cricket? I don't know. I'm going to go with cravat. Cravat knee, snapmare, basement drop kick. Electric chair, sit-out, face buster, question mark?
Yeah, I would say that's fair.
Good, because I'm check with you. So, Dakota Kai for 2 count. Head kick by Kai. Back elbow by Ripley. Scorpion kick to Ripley, which I always like. The scorpion kick looks cool. Pop-up toss to Kai for near fall. Riptide countered into DDT for near fall.
Which was kind of weird.
It looked better from the second camera angle.
Right.
I thought it looked not great from the original one.
I know you made note of that.
I did. Kick and prism trap by Ripley. Reversed and Ripley's head into the bottom turnbuckle. Running kick to Rhea's face in the corner. Both on the top now,
I think
struggling.
They call it the face wash.
Yes. Forearm and Kai is down from the top rope. And Mercedes Martinez shows up out of nowhere to attack Ripley.
I thought this interference was meh, because like all she did was kick her in the gut, which is...
Yeah. But then I guess it opens up for the finisher, right? She's
the
exhausted.
draping GTK.
Right, the GTK
which
to
is
Ripley.
Cool.
And
her
it's over.
feet were draped on the rope, so I think it was an interesting variation to her finishing move, which I kind of
really like Dakota Kai, and when she started, I really didn't think she would. So that's what I love about NXT. They can develop people and change my mind, right? So I really think she's a good heel. Again, I wish Gonzalez was with her, but so Martinez comes back and hits the air raid crash on Ripley, and then backs out while staring at Ripley. My notes were: I love Kai. I like Ripley. I didn't really like this. Kai wasn't heel enough. There was too much on the ground with no reversals. It was just people holding holds for long periods. There was some decent action. Happy that Kai won, and it gives Rhea a feud away from the belt, because I'm not loving Ripley right now, so I don't her being away.
Not just her hair that sucks.
No, and we normally like her and think she's going to be a big
fine.
deal.
Like, I was actually not pissed when she beat Shayna Baszler.
I think she's going to be a star. What she's doing right now, I'm not a fan.
And Martinez, I think, she's fine. She's okay, but she's not an apropos replacement for Shayna Baszler.
No, of course not. I like what she's doing, though. I like her character so far, and she's going to be the mega heel that's there for faces to beat up on. I feel like it's going to be Ripley's going to win, right? And it's going to keep her elevated, and that's where Mercedes will probably stay for a while.
Yeah,
because
it's not like she's a young talent.
They've got lots of people at the top of that division, so they just need to fill in the middle and bottom section, I guess. All right, so we're off to Bronson Reed and Shane Thorne.
Yeah, and so one note I have for Shane Thorne's entrances. Oh yeah, so actually before that, according to Mauro Ranallo, the fans gave Reed the Thick Boy nickname, which I think is a load of crap. I don't think who in the right mind, unless it's like some 7 or 8-year-old child was like, yeah, boy, or whatever, and then he's like,
insert
Thick Boy.
Jackson's Thick Boy rant, weekly Thick Boy rant.
Yeah,
here.
it's just so bad. Although, I mean, as a wrestler, he's getting a little better, so.
Yeah, fair enough.
I still think that ladder match should be a 6-man. And Shane Thorne's Tron confuses me because, so the way it's laid out, so his Titantron, it's a big kind of spiral thing, right? But then, like, on the sides of his main Titantron, there's 2 rectangles that say Shane Thorne, which would usually be, like, the main Titantron. So it's weird. And then, like, there's, like, the little rectangles on the sides. It's just, the way it's laid out, it's very weird, and it's just, I just wish it would be a big thing that says Shane Thorne, like most Trons are.
So
it's just structured weird, and it's just, like, I don't know, it annoys me.
That's good. That's a very you observation to make.
I only really got the ending of the match in this, so you can cover it. And then
all right. So Reed's theme and entrance need work, I think, but he is growing on me. I like him.
I wish he would go back to wearing kick pads because I think it's an interesting look for a big man.
And he does have a cool look, right? Because he's a different size and shape. He's not super tall. He's obviously a big boy.
Thick boy.
But his entrance needs a bit of work for me. I generally like Thorne in the ring. His new heel persona is still developing. The guy can wrestle, man. There's no doubt about that.
I'd like to say I missed TM61.
I was about to put RIP TM61 in my notes because I also thought if they had some more time, they could have done something.
And what happened? I can't remember specifically what happened with Nick Miller. But
I believe he just wanted time away from wrestling. I think it was like family or whatever.
That's a shame because I think they were a decent team. Don't think they should have ever turned heel. I think because then they were called the Mighty, and I think that was a crappy.
No, they were and their offense at that time was hard to put
I just remember in like 2016 when NXT was at its peak, they were like one of the tag teams at the focal point. They were in they made it over guys like DIY in the finals of that year's Dusty Classic. They lost to AOP, but that's fine.
It seemed like they had
But I think it was they were out for a while, right?
Yeah, there were some
injuries. Because Shane Thorne had a brutal injury.
I almost want to say like one for each of them, but for sure for Thorne.
I remember them doing that documentary, or like sort of on NXT.
Was it Nick Miller? Was that the other guy?
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
But I just remember Shane Thorne had a brutal injury, and that's why they were gone for so long. Yep. Anyways, we're getting kind of sidetracked.
That's okay. So Bronson powers Thorne into the corner after a clean break. Reed takes 3 forearms and sort of shows that they don't have much effect, and then hits a couple of his own. Drop kick by Thorne and a senton to the outside. Chops to Reed. Full Nelson slam to Thorne on the apron. Back in the ring, Reed climbs to the top and fights off Thorne. Thorne's pushed off the ropes, sort of does a backflip, lands on his feet, a drop kick, a running senton that looked really cool. It's just a little flurry there from him. They gave him a couple little spots where he really got to show he can do some fast stuff and link some things together. Shining Wizard ? It was. I asked you if it was.
No, I think it's more of an Easter egg. They called it a Shining Wizard, but Shining Wizard is like you kind of hit it with the inside of your knee. Like if you look at Tegan Nox's Shining Wizard or Adam Cole's last shot, what Shane Thorne did was very clearly not.
That's why I put a question mark. I didn't think it was.
Yeah, especially if you look at the second camera angle when they did the replay, it was very clearly more of a knee strike like that. But
so
anyways,
it was a near fall off of that, whatever it was. Headbutt by Reed to gain control. Military press and release. Senton to Thorne for 2. Head kick to Reed. Clothesline, but Reed stays standing. A striking exchange in the middle of the ring. Big clothesline by Reed. Taken well. Flipped Thorne right over.
Yeah.
Big DVD, which I think looked good. And then the splash for the win.
Tsunami splash.
I had that it was good for what it needed to be. Pretty easy win for Reed, but Thorne getting to showcase some of his skills in little small bursts.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not quite like that match, the tag match on AEW, where it's like I feel like Silver and Reynolds got a little too much, but I think Thorne's offense was sprinkled appropriately in the match.
Yeah, I think there's a place for him at NXT. I'm not sure he'll ever be a star or a contender, but
if he wants to be a star, I think he could be a future North American champion if they just kind of rework, really find what works for him. Maybe a tag team.
I think he needs a manager and a mouthpiece.
I think he needs to be in a good tag team again. Like I think what he and Nick Miller had was pretty good, and he was teaming with I think it was Brendan Vink on Raw. I don't know what happened to that. I don't think that worked. So, no. But anyways, I think he really needs to find maybe a good tag team partner. And then just, I don't know, I think that could be his calling, really.
I think there's a place for him for sure. Tag team or mid-card guy, like he can put people over. I think he could use a mouthpiece maybe, but...
I think he has a place as long as he can find the right gimmick to do, then, But...
So then we hit Breezango earlier today. They were attacked by Legado del Fantasma, and they take Fandango away in their SUV. Then we get a hype package for the triple threat, and I had here that I feel like Ridge is going to win for some reason. So
I don't like him getting the opportunity right off the bat. I feel like I don't like him, and I'm not a huge fan. He just feels like another just kind of big man. Especially, it could be okay for him to move because I think in NXT UK isn't doing him good because you have Walter there who's basically a better version of who he's supposed to be, I guess.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, I just don't really like him getting that opportunity right away.
The Stone brand are outside and are asked why the interference in Ripley's match. Simple, logical response by Stone that I thought was fine. Sorry, it's fine. She's done with them, but they're not done with her, sort of thing. Then we get a recap of Balor attacking Thatcher from last week.
Yeah.
And then it's the triple threat for the number 1 contender for the North American title. Priest versus Lorcan versus Holland.
Yeah.
All right, so... First thing I have is that Holland has to lose the club and fix his entrance gear, right?
And his entrance theme. His theme is terrible.
Yes, he's not.
I don't think it fits the gimmick he's going for, and that's my note.
Physically imposing guy. I like that the little like he's too reckless and dangerous for rugby. So I
agree his ring gear because it's like he has the trunks which are okay, and then it's just kind of blank, and then he has short boots. I think the short boots is really even worse when you have no knee pads on.
I don't think he'll be long before he's changed and sort of got a new look for the North American market.
I know he kind of looks like my favorite Pat McAfee.
Oh, nice. That's great. Priest starts out, knocking both down and takes control early. There's a nice head kick there to Holland. Lorcan dives outside onto both. Then back inside, Holland throws Lorcan around. Priest comes in and Holland overpowers him.
Yeah, I noted that Holland was eating repeated offense from Damian Priest.
He was.
And then my next note is, it was at this moment that our cat Toast decided to explore a plant. Yeah, so when we were watching this, she just like jumped up into like a potted plant that we
Which
had.
she doesn't do.
It was weird. She wasn't even really chewing on it.
My note is Toast is Camel Cat.
Yeah.
Hiding in
anyways,
the plants.
that
So
happened.
back from a commercial, Priest and Holland striking repeatedly. Lorcan flies in and takes them out. There was a lot of this, not a lot, but a couple times where Priest and Holland are fighting, and then Lorcan just flies in from off of the screen somewhere.
I know that Priest got a lot of good offense in this match, more so than other times. I feel like he really shined in this match.
He was definitely being showcased. I think you're right, which is their decision. I'm not a fan, but I get what they like him and they're gonna push him a little bit, which is fine. Lorcan is running around, hits a double blockbuster, single leg crab by Priest to Priest by Lorcan, uppercuts to Priest and Holland. Holland shoulder blocks Lorcan and hits some sort of slam for 2. We were debating what it was.
Yeah,
I
couldn't tell.
We went with some sort of slam.
A slam.
Priest is back in, and Holland reverses the reckoning, headbutt, and a power bomb. Pin saved by Lorcan, flying in again. All 3 are down. Chops by Lorcan to Holland, but huge forearm from Holland, and Oni is mad. Chops and running uppercuts, and Holland is down. Huge clothesline by Holland to Lorcan. Priest slams Holland and hits the reckoning on Lorcan for the 3. Holland looked okay. Some fast-paced action.
Yeah, he looked fine.
I was hoping the winner wasn't as obvious as it seemed, because like when you look at it, right, you're like, who's gonna win? It's not gonna be Lorcan.
I'm fine with Priest winning. I think I kind of like him. I love his entrance.
Yeah.
And I think he's one of those guys who could be interesting in ladder match with all the strikes and kind of things he can do.
I do remember, who did he have a really good match with? Was it Balor?
Maybe?
It was on a pay-per-view. It wasn't a major main event or anything.
Pay-per-view?
But I thought
he was in that triple threat with Killian Dane and Pete Dunne.
I don't know if it was that. There was some match he had recently where he actually impressed me, because normally I'm like, guess what? He's fine. But he actually looked pretty good. So next we get Lee versus Grimes. So I'm going to try and keep the name straight when we get to it, but I'm so used to Grimes being Trevor Lee.
From Impact.
And Indies and everywhere else I've seen him, so the fact that he's wrestling Lee and he isn't Lee might get to me, but I think I've got it straightened out. So we're back from the break with nonsense about Cole and McAfee. I don't even want to give it any more time. I feel the same way. So now we get the tag team.
I'll get Rant.
The tag title match reminder.
Rant.
And then we get Lee and Grimes. I have Grimes in capital letters because I love him. Grimes has embraced his character and seems to be enjoying it, right? He's just a fantastic mid-card heel. Am I saying he's going to be the champion? No. But he can be around mid-card, North American title.
I think he could totally.
And those are throughout my 30 whatever.
That's what you need to fill out a
35
brand.
years of wrestling. Those are my favorite characters. I want the Mr. Perfect, the $1 Million Man, like
Bret
Rick
Hart,
Rude, all these mid-card heels. I love them all.
Or no, he was a face, but like maybe Shawn Michaels for a time.
Macho Man's my favorite wrestler ever, but my favorite time for him is when he's heel, like Intercontinental.
Opposite
and not
Ricky Steamboat.
Yes. Okay, so sorry. Grimes backs away from the ropes like a coward, or to the ropes, and he's constantly doing the going to the ropes escape. Yeah, it's the classic heel stuff, right? Grimes is scared and playing mind games. Lee no-sells forearms and grabs Grimes' face. Shoulder tackle to Grimes. Up kick to Lee, and another shoulder tackle to knock Grimes down. Lee throws Grimes into the corner, and Grimes ends up outside. Lee follows, but Grimes knee drop kicks and whips Lee into the steps, hitting his knee, which I thought was a cool little combo between the drop kick and the throwing into the steps.
Yeah.
Moonsault by Grimes, which I'm always surprised because he doesn't look like a guy that's going to hit a moonsault. Looked nice from the second rope to the outside. Back from commercial, and Lee takes over. Crossbody for 2. Spirit Bomb escaped, but caught on Lee's shoulders. Awkward roll-up by Grimes for 2 I have there. Pin attempt with foot on the ropes for 2 by Grimes. Grimes lands a kick, but gets caught coming off the ropes. Grimes hits. We were talking about what it is or what to call it. The flipping crossbody kind of C4 kind of.
It's like almost a Spanish fly, but it's some modification. I don't know.
It looks good every time,
and
especially
it's very cool
to a guy that big.
I have no idea what it's called.
Didn't expect it, but I think it requires the guy he's giving it to be pretty athletic too, which is why he can do it with Lee, even though Lee's humongous because he's so athletic. Grimes taunts Lee to get up, which I thought was interesting. He's gone from not wanting to fight this guy to now taking the time to taunt him rather than stay on offense. The cave-in attempt, they said, I guess, I don't know, it didn't look that clear to me, but it's caught by Lee. The grizzly chop to Grimes, and he's down. Grimes strikes of no effect, and Lee's have lots, is what I have for next month to summarize that. 4 clotheslines by Lee while holding on to I almost said Lee's arm to Grimes' arm. Wow. Lee stands there and does nothing for a bit, which I didn't really like. He just kind of stood there before he picks him up for the Spirit Bomb, which wasn't my favorite. But so the big Spirit Bomb for the win.
Hey.
I love Grimes' heel work, and he got more offense than he thought he might, so I was okay with it. Obviously, Keith Lee had to win, but I thought Grimes looked good too.
Yeah. I'd like to quick cover the next one, which is the William Regal promo.
Yeah, go ahead.
Basically is a bunch of stuff about Balor and Gargano are unhappy because they did not win the triple threats, but they also were not pinned because obviously it was Timothy Thatcher who got submitted by Dexter Lumis, and Roderick Strong was pinned by Bronson Reed. So William Regal basically says, so we're gonna get Balor, Gargano, Holland, and I guess whoever I think it's whoever's not pinned in this next triple threat match, which is gonna be Kushida versus Cameron Grimes versus Mystery Person. So I guess whoever's not pinned in that will be in one of these singles matches. And so yeah, it's 2 singles matches, and they'll get the final 2 spots in the ladder match. Basically, why this is happening is Dexter Lumis is kayfabe injured.
It is only kayfabe.
I think it's kayfabe.
Me too. I do.
Maybe he has like COVID or is just taking a break.
I assume it's kayfabe, but I don't.
Yeah, but anyways, so there's 3 spots open now. So I think 1 spot will go to either Kushida, Cameron Grimes, or that Mystery Person, and then the 2 other spots will go to the winners of their respective singles matches.
Right, so they didn't do the best job of explaining this, right? Like, I think we were pausing
at first I was confused, but
and talking
once they also showed the triple threat match, I think I started to understand it a little more.
So basically, they've just found a way to further expand, like, who they're using to, like, include in the... It's kind of cool because they're developing this, here's our North American title talent pool of contenders, right? They're sort of showing
it's like, it also kind of ups prestige of this title that so many people want this opportunity, and I really do like this championship.
And I'm a sucker for tournaments, right?
Yeah,
so
and I just, even though it's not like a structural tournament, it's got that feel to it.
It does, and they just found a way to make it bigger too.
Another thing I like about this ladder match is that it really does harken back to the first match for this title, which was the ladder match at TakeOver New Orleans a couple years ago.
Which you loved.
Yeah, it was a great match, and also Adam Cole won. And anyways, I just think the title looks really cool. It's always cool when people wearing it. Like, I thought Adam Cole looked fantastic wearing it.
Yep. He's a star, for sure. Yeah. He's a champ.
And I think a lot of people look cool. Keith Lee was cool carrying around. Like, Roderick Strong looked good wearing it, and Velveteen Dream. I just think it's a nice title, and I like them kind of upping the prestige of this.
And you're probably happy that Lumis is out.
Yeah.
That's a bonus.
I'm not a huge fan of him. I've been, like I said, I've been watching his Samuel Shaw work. I think it's much better. I also just think he does, like, I don't know.
I'm pretty on the fence with him. I'm
just
sitting there waiting to see which way I'm going to go.
He's fine.
Right? He's fine. So on that note, Legado del Fantasma, drag out Fandango. Santos talks about Lucha.
You know what's funny is the way you said these, Fandango, because a lot of people will either say Fandango or Fandango, so it's like...
I'm going to be wrong no matter what.
Right.
Santos talks about Lucha is not to be exploited to sell merch.
That's what I wrote. I wrote that he says it's art and that it shouldn't be exploited for...
Which is, again, heel logic, right? Like it. I'm cool
I think it's like... And I also know that Legado del Fantasma actually had a pretty kick-ass theme song.
But I'm not going to lie. With my memory, I didn't understand for a second why that meant he had a problem with Breezango. Right? But then he points out to us...
that it's just like they're kind of making a mockery of wrestling.
Well, they even dressed up as Lucha one week, right? And wore masks, I think. So that was the part I'd forgotten. That, like, okay, now this makes sense because I really like Legado del Fantasma, and I was just kind of like, why Breezango? But okay, so that helps me. I thought there was lots of crowd noise for this.
Yeah, it was a little weird. But anyways.
So every week, they're basically saying Breezango play dress up, and 1 week they mocked Lucha Libre. And again, I'd forgotten that. It helps me. So the disrespect stops now. Breeze comes out, but is stopped and taken out. Santos calls out Swerve Scott. These guys are cool, and I hope that they're done with Breezango, because I'm kind of done with Breezango. So I mean, I like Tyler.
I always wanted more for them.
Yeah, me too. And back.
And I thought there was some hope when they came back to NXT, but...
When Tyler Breeze was a singles guy in NXT with the model gimmick, it was amazing. And then they moved him up, and it became straight comedy and was... Like, in NXT, you would laugh at his gimmick, but then he was good in the ring, right? And they sort of took that away.
Yeah, and I have got my figures. I use him, and I actually use Breezango a ton, and I just think that's also part of it. I just think because I think like there's so much potential in them.
They went 100% comedy, and now for me, that they can't reset them. I can't go I'm
I
done.
think they should still do the Fashion Files. I think it was good.
Actually,
I think
that was
they're
funny.
decent
You're right.
in ring. I think they can, if they can find the right balance of these awesome Fashion File segments, and they're decent in the ring. They've got some cool moves in one.
And
I think
that was the thing.
they just need to find that balance.
Do all the fun stuff, but have them still like kill it. And
Yeah.
they even said that's what they were gonna do in
Capable.
NXT, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna be, but they're no different. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh well.
It's a shame because they're not bad.
Yep.
They're both decent. They're good together. They can do good segments too. I don't see why they wouldn't bring back the Fashion Files. They were popular. They were funny. They were good, and it was a way like the Ascension were on TV and that. I think it was
Oh my god.
like, right.
Yep.
I don't know. It was good, and I just kind of miss it.
Yep, that Fashion Files were good. I don't know if they have the creative people that could keep it going for a really long time and have it still be good, because it was pretty clever.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's just it was really good.
So we go to Undisputed Era package highlighting their successes. Three-time tag champs are looking for their fourth
I
reign.
enjoyed this because I love them. So I just kind of like highlighting how great they are.
Priest talks outside about not caring who falls into the match. He's going to win at TakeOver 30 anyway.
I just wrote Bronson Reed encounter.
Bronson Reed stops by to congratulate him. Priest wants to be clear. It won't be a fluke this time, it's sort of implying that Reed's win was a fluke, so don't think about winning. And then there's a singles match offered by Priest and
set
accepted
up for next week, officially.
right? Which, that's cool. I'm interested to see that.
I'm fine with it.
Okay. Next thing I have is Pat McAfee on commentary. Why?
Okay, I'm not gonna rant yet because we're not to the bad stuff, but he's just very annoying and just so unauthentic. And I wrote, I want Nigel McGuinness back. For those of you who don't know who he was a UK born commentator. He was a former indie wrestler, and he was very good. Him and Mauro Ranallo were such a great team. The 3-man commentary teams are meh, but I wouldn't mind the 2 of them with Tom Phillips, because Tom Phillips isn't bad either.
Yes.
So I think they just need him back. He was released in Black Wednesday, and that's one of the ones that stung to me, because he's really good. And I literally wrote as one of my notes, I hardly paid attention.
I ignored Pat McAfee. I don't want him anywhere near my NXT.
I don't want him near wrestling. He doesn't belong.
I know I say this every week like I'm this protector of NXT, but this is main roster garbage.
I know. I don't blame you. It's perfectly
I don't want it.
Terrible.
So I guess we get a tweet. They show a tweet from an angry Candice LeRae. I didn't really make note of what it was.
I thought it was going to be Tegan Nox versus Candice LeRae based on this.
But instead, we get Tegan No in my notes. Tegan Nox versus Indy Hartwell. Indy seems to be more heel this week, and I actually liked her entrance.
Yeah, I think she's fine. I think if they can build her, I think she could be interesting.
And then the match started, and she didn't do much. There's lots of banter to start as the two are talking in the ring until Nox starts chopping. They exchange punches. Hartwell's in control for a bit for a near fall, and then a chin lock. I have too early and for too long. She locks in a chin lock on the ground. There's no reversals, no anything. They just kind of sit there. It's not like it's a rest hold. They've been wrestling for 2 minutes, so I didn't understand it. Back out, maybe they just don't have a lot of options. I don't know how long Indy's been wrestling. Back elbow to Nox for 2. Chin lock again. Back into it again in this super short match. Nox roll up for 2. Boot to face by Hartwell for 2. Tegan Tegan gets her boots up and Hartwell's down. Punches and stomps on the ground by Nox. Cannonball to the corner by Nox. Shiniest Wizard, and we're done. I have it was a nothing.
That was my only note. It was the match finish. The rest of it was just random stuff.
Nothing match. 60% of Hartwell's offense was a chin lock. I thought she had a cool look, and again, she can develop into something, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not being overly critical, I hope, but she really didn't do much. But I think she looks cool. So let's see what happens with her. Yeah. Imperium are warming up backstage before the commercial break. Then we come back from commercial. Grimes, Kushida, and mystery opponent. For the spot in the North American title match.
Priest and Bronson Reed 1-1.
And Priest and Reed next week. So
we got the NXT Tag Team title match.
I'm gonna have a quick sip of liquid before we get to this.
Yeah.
Because it might be some.
So I'd like to mention that before we get into other stuff, Undisputed Era's entrance is really great. I think they've really got it figured out. It's nice. It represents kind of their unity as a faction, and I think it's really affected by this empty arena era because you have the crowd just so into it.
100%.
They chant boom when the theme song goes down, and the Adam Cole baby and
It's an excellent point.
Yeah, you really miss it,
They are a very interactive group, right?
Right. You really miss it. You really do.
So why does Pat McAfee speak? This is my first note.
And like he claims he meant no offense to Cole when he said Era helped him during his title run, but he's very insincere. And Beth Phoenix would mispronounce Fabian Aichner again. It's really Eichner.
Going for insincere, and he's going for that jerky type of person that's like, what do you mean? I was just saying I wasn't really, but
even then
that
sounds
I just don't care. I don't want him here.
I don't like him. I hate him.
And
not only is he insincere, but I don't think he's a good actor. It's like you say Seth Rollins isn't a good actor. He's not a good actor. He's very bad.
And you love Adam Cole, and I just respect that guy, and I know he's a star.
Yeah.
And I know this is beneath him. And
I love him, but okay, so you cover the match, and then I'll cover all the crap that Pat McAfee says.
Why does he speak? This is not the type of thing that belongs in NXT. Save this crap for Raw and SmackDown. Undisputed Era enter en masse with no gold, which I thought looked strange. Like the 4 of them coming and not one belt.
Yeah.
That was weird to see because it's been them being champ, one or all of them for so long. Right.
Which makes me
They're
sad.
lacking something right now and aren't quite as hot as they once were, and I'm hoping that they can sort of be reheated. But again,
sad.
I have here, you already said, entrance needs crowd interaction.
Yeah.
Eichner and O'Reilly start. There's a striking exchange. O'Reilly's in control in the Undisputed Era corner, kicks and chops. Fish tags in and continues beating Eichner. Crossbody gets caught into a gutbuster by Eichner, which looked cool. Eichner's pretty awesome. Their tag team right now has nothing going on.
Where O'Reilly, without Walter and just the whole group. And I feel like with the kicks and whatever for O'Reilly, I think that's where he and Fish really shine, along with submissions and the real technical getting down. Like
there's one part coming up near the middle or end where I thought O'Reilly was fantastic.
And he's a real what you would call a ring comedian.
Yes.
Kind of like Ortiz, actually.
Yes, but a little more subtle, right? Ortiz is super over the top, and O'Reilly, you kind of have to pay attention for it.
It's different.
Yeah. I got time for both.
Kyle O'Reilly is pretty hilarious. I have a few highlights of his that I love.
He's funny.
I'll talk
Canadian
about that some other time, maybe. Yeah.
Bartel's in with an arm drag to Fish. They're focusing on Fish's left arm now. Double team kicks to Bartel. Quick tags, and Yui isolates Bartel. Imperium gain control and double team Fish into the commercial break. Back from the break with Eichner in control of Fish on the ground. Cole and McAfee are staring at each other, and it's already starting to distract us from the match, which gets worse later, I'm sure we'll get into. Eichner's backdropped outside, gets back in to cut off Fish. Another backdrop and hot tag to O'Reilly. This is where I thought this was the best part of the match for me. O'Reilly is in and exploding with lots of kicks, takes both Imperium out. Eichner's outside, dragon screw to Bartel in the corner. O'Reilly knee drop from the top to Bartel's leg. I like this, right? He's targeting a body part, so he's modifying his moves to target that. So instead of a knee drop to anywhere else, it's to the leg.
Right.
And locks in a knee drop to the leg and then a leg lock. Diving headbutt to Bartel while still in the leg lock. Springboard moonsault by Eichner to break the hold. His moonsault always looks cool. Because it's just this heavy-looking guy who can hit a moonsault.
Right.
Cut to Cole and McAfee talking, yelling, "Chill out." Somebody was, I don't know who. Then we get water thrown on Pat, and I have in brackets title match ? No, we're not worried about the tag match anymore. Triple H and HBK come out.
Okay.
You want to? I'll go to the finish, or do you want to cut in now?
Sure.
Go ahead.
We've got a bunch of crap here, and this really does tick me off.
I probably have time to drink some coffee, right?
Yeah,
go ahead.
You do. Go ahead. Pat McAfee says Cole has a childish body but a big head, which is not only doesn't make zero sense, but it's like why do you need to say this stuff?
Like flashback to Moxley putting over Darby Allin, right? Make the other guys
and he
look
says
good.
A short temper.
Right.
And then he says, I literally wrote a note. Pat just can't seem to stop mentioning that Cole's that Cole's short.
There's nothing else you
matter,
could do.
right?
If you're smart, well, I guess.
You could call him a weasel or something like that, but you don't have to it's the whole Shorty G thing.
In his defense, I guess, is that he is being given these lines, and we know that that's why it feels main roster, because Vince is the guy.
Right, but
you're small. Look how small he is.
And really contrasting to that Moxley thing, Pat isn't putting anybody over. He's really talking down on Cole.
Over.
Yeah, and he's not over either. He calls Cole an angry elf, and that's when Cole splashes him with water. And then Imperium freaking wins due to the distraction.
Yep.
Which annoys me even more. And then he says Cole will always be a little bitch, and then punts Cole.
Yes.
And then Cole's freaking knocked out. Are you freaking kidding me?
Yep. So all I had was Imperium capitalize, throw Wiley out, hit the powerbomb uppercut, which looks cool for the win. Cole and McAfee have words. Cole gets punted and knocked out. Other than O'Reilly's hot tag and Imperium's finisher, this match really didn't have anything other than it was there to further the Cole McAfee crap. Which I don't think it deserves, especially if it's a title match. This is what I'm saying. This is disrespect to this tag division. This is a championship match that they're a main event championship match. And they're furthering a storyline with a guy who's never done anything in this before and sucks. It's funny. So in my words, they're using it as a backdrop to a meaningless non-wrestler feud. Yeah. So I just... Match was worked. This sucked. In my opinion, even the guys in the match kind of worked it like they knew it didn't matter, because those 4 guys are capable of putting on a blow-away match. And this was kind of like, well, we know we're not the focus of this match, so... Which is a shame. It's just like, again, I just can't. Because think about it. There were no... Stupid. There were no real super high spots. There was no real crazy action other than a little O'Reilly flurry. So... that was NXT. This sucked. The main event sucked. It was overall an okay show. Main event was awful. Knox... Wait, get ready for it. It was fine. Knox Hartwell was fine at best. This show was fine. At best. I don't know. Nothing really special here. I think AEW definitely got the better. I agree. I agree with the ratings this week. I prefer AEW again. Yes, especially after that main event. People might start to think we're biased. Believe me, I would love for a week to say that I preferred NXT. I'm NXT since day one. It's just not as interesting right now. All right. You just gotta deal with this like Pat McAfee crap, and it's just like it's so stupid. I just want to like. It is. Get rid of it, and it's just like all right. Well, let's cleanse our palate, get away from NXT, and talk about any other wrestling business, our AOWB section. So I know you've got other stuff to talk about, so let's quickly talk about the AEW Women's Tag Team Cup, which was Monday. Right, we watched that together. I apologize, I don't know if there's been more rounds since then, but it's... So the matches we'll be just briefly covering. We've got, I believe we got the Nightmare Sisters versus, who did they face? Oh, Penelope Ford and Mel. Right? And then we had Nyla Rose and Ariane Andrew, formerly known as Cameron, against Tay Conti, formerly known as Taynara Conti, and Anna Jay. And the fact that we don't even know if there's been any more matches in this tournament is probably a pretty good indication of how much we enjoyed these matches, because we don't even know what's going on next with it. But I thought the second one was like Tay Conti, and because I think Tay Conti and Anna Jay were better. Yes. So the Nightmare Sisters would beat Penelope Ford and Mel. Yeah, it was rough. And Mel's not great, but I think they at least tried to like play off the Nightmare Collective story there, because that was a thing that happened. I have Mel and Brandy are bad. Allie is okay. Penelope is decent. Like I think Penelope's gonna be really good. But it was bad match, too long, very boring. The other match had a creative ending where Ariane Andrew hit a weird splits leg drop, and then there was like the the neck snap, which is not a great ending as a move, but the way it was done was cool. But Ariane Andrew, not great. Nyla Rose was fine in this match. They did a leg injury thing, which didn't help, I guess. And Nyla attacks Ariana after the match, right? Which I think was fair. And Tay Conti and Anna Jay, I think, is interesting. I think they should go far in this. I think they have potential. Two young talents who are relatively new. Because, Tay Conti was in NXT for a while, but what did she really do there? Not much. Right? No, I think she's got potential, she's still new, so I think that team has some potential for sure. Yeah, and then at the end, Brandy cut a heel promo on how good she is, and that she has an action figure. Which I think is interesting, because then I actually liked if they do this Four Horsemen stable with Hangman, Cody, and FTR, she can be kind of their manager. Yep, right? I like this promo, and I haven't liked much. It's planting the seeds for that, which I kind of like. So that's and it was about her Instagram celebrity and whatnot too, right? Yeah. I thought it was okay. And I think then I just think that's gonna be interesting. It's another story that they're kind of just planting the seeds for. Yep. And then there was a brief interview with Conti, who says that they're the prettiest team. And that Anna doesn't want to talk about. There's not a lot of competition though. She didn't want to talk about her Dark Order experience. So I have not a great start to the tournament. Neither match was very good, but maybe we'll check out some more. We do have a promising team in Tay and Jay. And still, it looks like this whole thing is sort of centered around the Nightmare or whatever sisters. Yeah, seems like they're. And I think it's just furthering their women's division, which is good. So. So I'll talk about Impact really quickly. I did watch it this week.
I've seen some clips on Instagram as well. Yeah,
Beautiful.
I watch
perfect.
a bunch of clips on Instagram because I do follow them. So I'll kind of chime in if I can.
Excellent. So Moose cheats to rob. That's funny.
Yeah. Oh,
to
actually, I
rob
did
Heath
see this.
of a contract, which is funny because I have a friend
so I
named
think
Rob
the
Heath.
ref got knocked out.
That's right.
Heath hit like a zigzag-like move.
Yep.
And the ref was down, so he did get the count, but not officially.
So Moose hit a low blow and then rolled him up.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't really care about Heath. I like Moose. Moose is a cool character. He's good for Impact Wrestling. He's kind of larger than life, right? He should be a star there, I think. Heath, whatever, I don't know. We'll see. He was fine. Wrestle House Part 1 happens.
Oh. From what I've seen, it's brutal.
Swinger is funny. Alicia is a horrible actor. No offense to her. I think that's Eddie Edwards' wife, right? She's brutal, and she had a pretty big part to play. Susie and Alicia beat Swinger in a bad, pointless match, is all I have there. Eddie Edwards is defending his title every week and beat Sami Callihan.
Hey, every week.
Match was as expected. Your thoughts on both of those guys? I don't know if we talked about them.
I think right now they're both not at their best. I think Sami Callihan was really at his best as the leader of OVE, this absolute just like psycho guy.
Oh, he's a mega heel.
And Eddie Edwards is the same thing. As I remember when we were watching Impact, that was when like he was kind of going crazy and like just kind of like a madman, but like he wasn't a heel. It was just like he was kind of just going kind of crazy. And I think like he's been better as like a more technical wrestler, and now like he looks the same as he did when he had that kind of crazy guy gimmick, but now he's just like a random, like he doesn't have that cool gimmick anymore. I think there's not much to him anymore, which is a shame because I think he was just Impact was so great a couple of years ago. Now it's like it's fine, but I think a couple of years ago it was really thriving.
When we went, I mean maybe we're biased because we were there live too, but
they had it all. They had LAX, aka Proud and Powerful. They had Tessa Blanchard. They had Brian Cage. They had the Lucha Bros. They had.
What moment we should talk about? We just talked about her. What did we see Allie do?
Oh yeah, she like messed up stepping in the ramp, and that was pretty funny.
So they had we were at a taping for Impact Wrestling, and it was level. It was just a platform level with
kind of like AEW has
with
right now.
the ring apron, and she did her entrance, and she ended up getting her legs stuck, like falling down in between with one leg. Where the ramp butts up against the ring, and they literally had to like do a second take. So there's an episode of Impact out there that when Allie successfully enters the ring, the
everybody's
crowd
like, "Yay!"
Crazy. It made it seem strange.
And we are also part of Moose's initial heel turn.
Right, we talked about that, right? I think Moose ripped up your brother's
But
son.
I think they really had it all then, and they had like had all those talents. They even had Austin Aries. They had Killer Cross.
Su Young was cool.
And Su Young was. I remember always trying to get a high five from one of her undead bridesmaids just for fun. Because even though I knew there was zero chance, it was just like.
Yeah, they were right there with us.
But anyways, I just think Impact's okay right now, but I think it's really a fall from grace, really.
They're trying new things, right, with this Wrestle House, which I'm fine with them trying. It's so Wrestle House Part 2. Kylie Ray defeats Rosemary after some crooked refereeing by Taya. Some sort of tease of a relationship between Johnny Bravo and Susie, which obviously Taya won't approve of. Who cares? TJP and Falaba.
Who cares?
So back out of Wrestle House now. TJP and Falaba beat Chris Bay and Rohit. TJP,
from the what were they called again? Desi Hit Squad. Did not enjoy them.
I think Rohit's pretty good.
He's not bad, but I feel like he's not presented too well.
Chris Bay's awesome. Plus, he's championship wrestling from Hollywood, so I got a soft spot in my heart for him because
I think Rohit Raju needs to be presented a little better. Yeah. I feel like Desi Hit Squad was a glorified jobber team for a while, so I think
they were. 100%.
He just needs to be presented better.
And Rohit's still in that role, but he kind of does it well. He's like the heel low mid-card guy that gets beat up by everybody. Right. That's a spot for him. So TJP submits Bay to set up a future match. Bay TJP will be probably a pretty good match.
TJP is good, but I feel like he never hit his peak.
And there's no character, he's really good in the ring, whereas Bay is like charisma and cocky. And
you got really a lot. He's got a lot going for him.
So the main event is which Rich Swann retiring ? I put. Yeah. He tries to be emotional. The locker room comes out to say goodbye. I didn't do anything for me.
He's not retiring, like, unless it's a real-life injury. He's not retiring.
And then somewhere
He's young, he's talented. Why would he retire? Like...
And then it's
he's not retired.
Not in the order it happened, but I missed it somewhere, so I threw it on at the bottom because he's my favorite guy in their company. Somewhere in the show, Ace Austin with Fulton set up the Good Brothers and got Gallows arrested. So that's now going to be a story. I imagine there'll be.
I like his finish with the fold.
So
I saw this cool clip on Instagram a while ago of Eddie Edwards. Like, so he was going for the fold, and Eddie Edwards just like caught him with a trash can. So he like dived into the trash can. That was pretty funny.
Ace Austin is kind of like. Not the same characters ever, but I feel similarly about like Darby Allin, that this is the guy. He's young, he's awesome, he's different, and I like him with Fulton, even though I've never seen Fulton do anything I like. This is the first.
He was Insanity.
Yes, this is the first thing I've seen him do where I like him as the silent.
He's an OVE,
muscle, right? So
I think he doesn't have a similar gimmick to Darby Allin, but like similar presentation. He's like their new young guy that they really need to build their future around. Guys like him.
Yep.
Not just
so
him.
I would say the show wasn't very good. There was no match or anything that I was like, Jack, you got to go watch this. It was awesome. So it was just another week in TNA, I guess.
Just another episode of Impact. It was fine.
And then I was going to talk a little bit about Dark, but we're kind of running long, so I'll just be really fast. Will Hobbs, he's big, I have, versus Scorpio Sky. Hobbs really dominates. It looks good for 2 minutes. Then there's a TKO and it's over. Serpentico and Aaron Solo versus the Gun Club.
Is it actually Serpentico or is it Sammy Guevara again?
It was actual Serpentico. Weak match, nobody looked good. Gun Club wins with a not great looking hip toss to a neck breaker by Austin. I thought Austin Gunn looked really bad. Yeah.
Hip toss to a neck breaker?
Yeah.
I'm trying to picture that in my head. That sounds stupid.
Cutler and Avalon versus Kiss and Janela. Decent match compared to the previous one. Kiss and Janela hit their version of the Doomsday device that ends in Kiss doing the splits, and that looked kind of cool. Kylan King versus Abaddon. Abaddon looks amazing, but she's out of breath after crawling to the ring. I made a note of just from her entrance.
Really?
She's green. Apparently, she's only been wrestling for a year and a half, but her character's amazing. Her makeup is terrifying.
Which it's supposed to be. So
it was a whatever match.
It's like
wins.
Smudge, but like almost purposely so.
She wins with I put somewhat sloppy spike Frankensteiner, so her opponent's on her knees and she comes in with a low, like Frankensteiner DDT sort of thing. It could be cool. Abaddon needs work, but
that's okay.
Her look is incredible.
Too neat.
QT Marshall versus Jack Evans with Angelico. Evans seems bored at times and is likely, I put probably not happy with his spot within the company because he's sort of known for being a vocal guy. And they really haven't done any. Tag team division's so stacked, right? There's not a lot of room.
Yeah.
He can do some crazy athletic and acrobatic things. I've been watching him for, I think I saw him in Wrestling Society X. I don't even know if you know what that is.
I don't.
Anyways, we're going back. So Angelico interferes and kicks QT in the head. Evans capitalizes and wins with a backslide. Evans and Angelico stomp QT after the match, and Dustin shows up, I imagine, maybe previewing a match for Dark next week with QT and Dustin against.
I could watch that, actually.
Evans
that doesn't sound bad.
No, there's usually one or two matches on Dark.
Considering how long he's been wrestling, Dustin Rhodes is actually surprisingly still, like...
Oh, man, he's good. Absolutely.
Yeah, so, which I like... As long as he's good, I'm perfectly fine with them using him,
yep.
He's actually pretty good. He can freaking do his Destroyer
for his
still.
age, he's fantastic.
He's fantastic for his age.
Griff Garrison, Brian Pillman Jr. versus FTR. Brian Pillman looked pretty bad here.
Versus FTR.
Garrison's okay, but he's just a skinny, young-looking kid.
Jungle Man.
And then I saw him in ROH, right? I was watching an old...
Oh, yeah, you said that, right?
Yeah. Why would I have done that? Anyways, I don't know. The Good Night Express for the win. FTR's character work's been good. I'm still waiting for the blow-away match that I know they can do, right? But they're really building up...
You just need that Young Bucks match, man. That's what they need.
Yeah, they can wait for that, though. I'm fine with holding off. With them, Lucha Brothers, oh my goodness. There's some matches coming up in the tag division that'll be amazing. So the main event, I believe, of Dark was Butcher Blade versus Private Party, which I was sort of excited for because both these teams are good.
That's the match you could get on Dynamite.
Private Party, for me, is regressed. I really think they're another act that needs the crowd because everything they do, right, is to get a reaction from the crowd, and there just isn't really one. I mean, there is,
They're
but not.
truly talented, though.
They are.
So.
I still think they need some work, but Blade looks visibly frustrated with Cassidy at one point. I just like that maybe Cassidy... They're young and new, right?
Yeah,
so I think there was a miscommunication.
Yeah.
Butcher and Blade hit their finisher for the win. I was looking forward to this match and kind of was disappointed. I thought the chemistry wasn't great. And I can see why Private Party have sort of been held off TV for a bit. I think until full crowds return, they're just not the same, right? They're so, and I think without the crowd there, I sort of noticed that they're a little bit sloppy sometimes and stuff. Where maybe when the crowd's there and there's extra stuff, I don't notice.
And I feel like I'm no wrestler obviously, but I feel like when you got the crowd, you can really feel the momentum, and that might just really kind of better your work, right?
Absolutely. It might literally affect them, the fact that they're not getting that feedback from the crowd too.
Right.
So overall, nothing special this week. Disappointing main event that I was kind of looking forward to. Taz is kind of frustrating on commentary here. I think it's because it's not the official show. He feels he can be lighter. He doesn't take it very seriously. He has casual banter between the two rather than them focusing on what's going on in the ring. I found it somewhat it's like funny Taz, right? Which isn't really what I want, but I think he's like, this isn't the main show, not many people are watching it, whatever.
If Jericho wasn't doing this program with Orange Cassidy, I feel like then he should be on commentary.
So Dark is a show I will watch if I have time probably not
fair.
in one sitting, like just so it's watchable, but it's really just
I once watched it at school, but it was
like
because it's 30
squash
minutes.
show basically, right? Like you know the result of every match you see except maybe the main event before you see it, but it's I don't know. So if that's, did you have any other business? No?
Nope. Just
right.
So
we're moving on
thing.
to
Tag Cup. Yeah.
Which we did, right? So we're moving on to Figuring It Out with Jack, where Jack takes a few minutes to talk about the world of action figures that he is extremely passionate about, and I will drink some more coffee and interject if necessary.
Yeah, so I think we talked enough about that. My package running late, so I don't think I need to cover that.
Really? It's the first I've heard of it.
Ooh. And so I've got, and the New Japan Pro Wrestling is coming with figures. I don't know who by exactly. It's not Mattel, it's not Jazzwares, I don't think. It's clearly like a cross between the two styles. I'm not sure.
Available in North America, or you got a...
I'm not sure. I honestly don't know.
So who's in the series?
All right, so we got Series 1 with Will Ospreay.
Nice.
Let me see. I'll run up a picture of him. So
I am a New Japan fan, although I don't currently watch it.
All right, so Will Ospreay, he's going to have, I think, a couple of alternate head scans. He's got his signature sword, the juniors trophy, and I believe it's the junior heavyweight title. And his entrance jacket as well.
The belts look good?
Yeah, the belt's pretty nice actually.
Nice.
And it's like silver. It's got the gold texture, so I'll show you later actually if you want. And he's got a bunch of interchangeable hands, so that's pretty cool. The figures look nice. I think they actually have nipples, which the Mattel and other ones don't. You may think that's weird, but I promise you it's not. The other ones don't have. Okay, so then we got Hiroshi Tanahashi, and he's got his guitar, his entrance coat, an alternate head, a bunch of interchangeable hands. I believe he also comes with the junior heavyweight title.
The John Cena of
Does
New Japan.
Or is it the heavyweight title? Nope, I think it's the heavyweight title, actually. Never mind. Okay, so he comes with the heavyweight title, actually. And then we've got Tomohiro Ishii. Why do I keep calling him Evil?
Favorite.
I don't know.
Go watch matches.
He's got his Stone Pitbull shirt. He's got an alternate head. He's got a steel chair, a bunch of interchangeable hands, and this I kind of find interesting. The never open weight title, which I think is actually a pretty nice attraction. I kind of like that.
If you don't know Ishii, go find some Ishii G1 matches.
And then we got one of their megastars as well, Kazuchika Okada. He's got some of his like dollars.
Former
I think
Impact
he's got
Wrestling star.
Yeah. If you know, you know. Yeah. He's got the heavyweight title belt, which looks different from the other one, so maybe that other one was the junior heavyweight title. I'm not sure. The Tanahashi.
So
it was either
does the articulation look similar to...
It looks more elite than
basic?
Yeah.
So more than flexing at the hips and waist and stuff?
Yeah, and so then he's got the heavyweight title, so I think maybe that other one was the junior heavyweight title. Then he's got a necklace and then a bunch of interchangeable hands again.
Nice.
Yeah, so I think that was the junior heavyweight title. Alright, then we've also got Series 2, which is still on pre-order as well. We've got Bushi, which actually is an interesting one.
Yep.
This one you can really...
With the mask, right?
This
Bushi.
one really, you notice the nipples. And so he's got a nice ring attire. He's got a bunch of interchangeable hands. I think 5 sets in total, including the ones that would be on him.
Yep.
He's got 4 interchangeable heads as well, which is pretty nice. 2, I think... No, is it 4, 5? No. Looks like it's either 4 or 5. 2 or 3 of them are the same mask, just different expressions, and 2 are like maybe entrance masks. I'm not sure, but different masks. Anyways, then we got Hiromu Takahashi.
Yes.
He's got his jacket, an interchangeable head, and a load of interchangeable hands. Not too much with that one. So, then we've got Evil. Here he is, actually. He's got interchangeable head, a load of interchangeable hands again, his, like, kind of scythe thing, and his entrance coat. Nice. Looks very Undertaker.
Yes. Oh, he does.
Then one of the most interesting one, I think one of the more interesting ones besides Bushi is going to be Tetsuya Naito. He's got a Tranquilo hoodie, a Los Ingobernables t-shirt, and a different design for that. He's got 2 interchangeable heads, bunch of interchangeable hands. And he's got, I believe it's the heavyweight title. Yep, the heavyweight title and the Intercontinental title because he was a dual champion. And then I've seen it on Instagram is they've just recently revealed. Obviously they make the toy WWE Championship belts. They just revealed the 2020 design for the Intercontinental title one. Right. So I think they'll also be coming out the blue Universal title soon. But yeah, that'll wrap that up. It was a little longer than I thought, but yeah.
That wasn't long at all, buddy.
New Japan's first 2 series, and then we've got a new toy belt. Nothing much here. Also, I've noticed one thing. I've been just kind of moseying around on ringside recently.
As you do.
Yeah, and we've got Elite 80 Kevin Owens, right? So it's debuting a new head scan for Kevin Owens, it's really nice. It really is, but just the eyes look a little like not clean enough, and like it's a nice face scan. But then they're coming out with the basic, which is actually the SummerSlam Toronto attire, so it's just kind of cool. And they do a way better job. Like it just looks cleaner, the face scan on the basic, which kind of annoys me because like the articulation's so much worse. So
we have started doing head swaps of figures.
Yeah,
we've learned the technique.
And then the same thing with the Bray Wyatt. It's less so the head scan, but so I've obviously covered the Funhouse Bray Wyatt ringside exclusive. And so that's, like, they did, like, a painted-on sweater, obviously. And not only does the sweater not have, like, the collar, and it's, like, he doesn't look... Because Bray's obviously a wide dude.
Yes, he's a husky. Husky, you could say.
Yeah, and he's just... I don't know, they didn't capture that enough. He looks too slim. And then if you look at the basic, they captured this perfectly.
It does look good.
It looks to be, like, some sort of new mold... And it really does look amazing. And I'm trying to find it, and it's even got the collar on the hoodie. It's got the right colored pants. And if it weren't for the puppets in this ringside exclusive, I probably wouldn't want it. Cause honestly, what I could see this as is you buy the basic for if you're doing Funhouse segments, like say stop motion, and then if you want to do matches, you buy the Elite.
That makes sense.
But yeah, so that's just a little bit on my opinion on some stuff. But all right, so that will wrap it up for real. We've got. So I just covered obviously the New Japan series 1 and 2, and then the toy belt, and then a little bit of other stuff. So,
great.
All right.
Thanks very much.
That'll wrap that up.
That's going to bring us to the end of FNS Wrestling Podcast Episode 3. As always, thanks to all of you for taking a bit of time out of your week to listen to us. We really appreciate it if you can recommend us to anybody. We're obviously available on YouTube. We are now available, I believe we're on Podbean now. So you can find us there. And on Instagram, Jackson?
It's, I believe, no caps, FNS _wrestling_podcast. Go give that a follow. I do post the updates on here, so if we end up doing another late podcast like this, you will know if you go follow us right now.
FNSwrestling@gmail.com if you want to send in any questions that way as well. Love to hear from anyone that listens to us.
Yeah,
we were shocked to see that someone from outside of Canada is listening to us,
and
so that's cool.
If we do get enough questions on that email eventually, if ever, then I think that we could add a segment to
100%
that.
100% agree.
Right.
All right.
So if we get enough of that, so then look forward to that if we ever get enough questions for that.
So thanks again, everybody. I'm having a blast doing this. We appreciate any listens we get, and enjoy the week to come, and we'll see you next time.
Hopefully on Saturday.